Fans, are you worried? 2 weeks to go until the start of the season and so much business still to do. Yes, I know Mbai, Barcola, Spence, all on the radar at this moment in time. But with 2 weeks to go till the big kickoff in the Premier League, Liverpool are looking incredibly light in a lot of areas on the pitch. If we just look at the state of the squad right now, attack needs a lot of work, and the defence both need a lot of work. Even in the number 10, you've got one player in Florian Wirtz. Who else can play? I guess, you can play Szoboszlai there, but he's not a natural 10. He's mainly, plays deeper on the pitch. But if you're a Liverpool fan right now, would you be concerned?
Not only that, you've got a new manager in Andoni Iraola, who is a notorious slow starter. It might take some time for him to get his methods across at Bournemouth. I know it's a different kettle of fish, a different size of club, but he was on the ropes until like October when he first got in the job, and he needed a last gasp win to turn his fortunes around. And then obviously he became a real success there, and which got him the Liverpool job. But you look at the attack, they've lost Salah, who's been an absolute goal and assist machine. Obviously, when you look at their attack from last season, Luis Diaz has gone on to Bayern Munich. He's been brilliant. Their attack was lacking last season. Ekitike has also picked up a major injury. Isaac has just not hit the ground running. He's had injury problems as well. And they're still relying, Chiesa's still at the club. They're still relying on him. They've signed like Victor Munoz. We don't know exactly how good he really is. Is he going to provide the goal contributions they've been missing? There's talks of Cody Gakpo leaving the football club at this moment in time, who's been a reliable source of goal contributions. And at the moment, they're relying on Rio Ngamoa, who's obviously a teenager. Florian Wirtz, who's yet to hit the ground running in the Premier League, although he's shown signs, he's yet to hit the ground running. And on top of that, Konate's left the football club. They haven't replaced him. They've got two teenagers and Joe Gomez alongside Virgil van Dijk as their centre-back options. What do they really expect to come of this season? On top of that, Frimpong, is he really a right back, or is he more of a wing back / even a winger? Can he be trusted to play at right back in a back four? Connor Bradley has he's got a long-term injury. They've got obviously Kirkes has played there, but Tsimikas has been a player they haven't really they tried to sell a number of times. So they've got a lot of holes in the squad.
Yeah, the way I look at it in terms of their forward line, obviously they're looking to bring in Barcola and Mbai, and if they do bring them in, Mbai is a very young player. We don't know how quickly he's going to acclimatise to the Premier League. You'd think Barcola would be a very good signing for them. But right now, there's no sign of these two signings being imminent. So at this moment, you've got to assume this is the way it's going to start unless something happens, because something hasn't happened now. So Gakpo and Gamora on the left, Chiesa Munoz on the right, although Munoz I think is more of a natural left, but probably can play both. Isaac Ekitike through the middle. So Ekitike is out for at least the first half of the season, so they've got one natural number 9. Gakpo could be leaving the club, so that leaves you with Ngamoa and Munoz. And Chiesa has been... nobody's wanted to trust him. So that is really, really worrying if you're a Liverpool fan. A few years back, they had Sadio Mane, they had Luis Diaz, they had Mo Salah, they had Bobby Firmino. They had such quality players in that forward line. And it looks as though the squad planning has been absolutely tragic. Obviously, it's been dealt a really rough hand because of what happened to Diego Jota, may rest in peace, and you can't account for these situations. But they need to recruit better, and they need to get players through the door, and they need to get them through quickly.
Are Liverpool fans convinced that Iraola, with the current state of the squad, obviously there's a lot of movement to be done, and we'll see who they're signing. But if you look in the state of the squad right now, with 2 weeks to go or 3 weeks to go till the start of the season, can Liverpool fans hand on heart say Iraola is set up to do better than what Slot did last season?
No, definitely not. Now. They're weaker. They're weaker right now than they were at the back end of last season. So
how are they judging Iraola? Is Iraola expected to do better than what Slot did last season? Because Slot got sacked because they weren't good enough. They finished, 5th? They did end up getting Champions League football in the end. But they obviously, he got getting his job, he ended up losing his job because they weren't good enough. But Iraola, they've brought him in to improve, haven't they? They've brought him in back in to get challenging. So if Iraola is not doing better than Slot when it comes to the results, then is he going to be on the chopping block?
Yeah, I feel for him. I do feel for him because like you mentioned before, look at the start he got off to at Bournemouth. I think he didn't win in his first 9 games or something like that. They were rooted into the relegation zone. If he does that at Liverpool, you can't do that at Liverpool. If you do that at Liverpool, surely your name's on the chopping block. Like, can they go? Let's say, I don't think it'll be that bad. You're not going to not win for the first 9 games. But let's say they only win 2 games in the first 9 games. That would be a tragic start for Liverpool. Their ambitions this season, after they were champions 2 years ago, their ambitions this season have got to be a title challenge, surely.
And even in midfield, especially with Champions League football next season, I know they've got good midfielders, McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch, but could they do with another midfielder? Like, is that enough to keep them competing, where they want to be competing? I know they've won leagues with that, but it was a different system. Like, Slot won the league with Gravenberch having an unbelievable season in the 6th. Then he had like Szoboszlai and McAllister just running the legs, and he had Salah having the best season of his life, and you had the other 4 players like chipping in, and they had Trent. Like, now I look at that midfield, and is that enough to kind of back up the rest of the squad and cover for maybe Isaac or Isaac's lack of running, or in the forward line, are they going to be doing the defensive work that needs to be done? I look at the kind of, it seems an unbalanced squad at the moment.
You said that last season.
Yeah, and I still think it is. I think also there's a bit of a lack of physicality. And the thing is, I really feel like the physicality is what makes Iraola's system usually tick. They are so intense, Bournemouth. They're a team that lacks control, but they'll outrun you, and they'll be more intense than you, and they will last longer than you. And last season, and ever since Iraola was there, they were an exciting team to watch, but they did lack control of games. They would go behind, but then come back, or they would take the lead and then give up the lead, and that would happen many times. But because of how intense they were, it just worked for Iraola, and they were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But now these are a big club, they're a big fish. They're expected to win many games, dominate games as well, be the dominant force in these games. And if they're lacking control and they're lacking physicality, which I'm looking at the squad and I think they do, I think this could be a disaster waiting to happen. I'm worried about it for him.
I think with the midfield is actually the area of the pitch I'm actually least worried about them.
I agree, but I still have question marks about it.
Like Szoboszlai, obviously very physical, top player. Gravenberch, I think he's a top player. But I think Iraola as well can get a lot more out of Wirtz than maybe, because once he's acclimatised to the Premier League after a year, I do think he'll be a lot better next season. McAllister, I think he's a very good player, but off the back of a very poor season for Arne Slot. And then you've got players like Elliott and Jones. Elliott obviously didn't get on the pitch for Aston Villa last season, but we all know Curtis Jones is a very good player as well. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe they could do with one more, and I think that one more is probably more of an attacking option, because you're looking at the number 10, like I mentioned before, and it is just Florian Wirtz, really, that you're thinking that can make a major impact. I mean, it's the defence I'm looking at that is a major cause for concern, because you look at left-back, they've got Kirkes and Tsimikas. Andy Robertson is now at Tottenham, obviously. They let Tsimikas go in favour of Robertson last season. So they've obviously weakened at left back in terms of their backup option. At right back, you got Frimpong and Bradley. I thought Frimpong, is he a right back in the Premier League? He was used on the wing a lot last season because of his defensive.
I don't think he is. I don't think he's a right back. I think he's a wing back.
Well, that's the thing. So you've got Frimpong and Bradley. Bradley's been decent.
But he's got a long injury, doesn't he?
Is he a long injury as well?
Because last season he fell really awkwardly. Remember, I think it was against Arsenal. I can't remember. He had that really bad injury.
Be right, I didn't remember that, but there you go. So that's why they're looking to bring in Jed Spence. Their centre back options as well. Virgil van Dijk, another year older. Joe Gomez. Like, how is Joe Gomez still at the club?
I know, it's ridiculous.
And then they got the new centre backs in Leone and Jacquet.
Leone, by the way, just off the back of an ACL.
Yeah,
and a teenager.
And Jacquet's supposed to be good, but who knows until we see him in the Premier League. So a lot of question marks in every single position in their back four.
I think I'm looking at, in every position amongst the team, there's question marks pretty much. And like on the left wing, I understand Mbaye and Barcola might come in, but even if they get those two, like they are heavily relying on Isaac hitting the ground running again, and Wirtz really showing his potential.
Isaac's top quality player.
I'm not denying that, but right now, what he's shown for Liverpool, he struggled, and Wirtz as well. So they need those two players. They really need to get back to their best if they've got any chance of doing anything.
I think they will. I think Iraola can get the best out of them.
Yeah, but still, right now, there's question marks about where they've been heading at Liverpool. Whether just right now it hasn't worked so far in their first season. They've just been out of sorts. They just haven't really fit in. Maybe under Iraola he can get the best out of them. I don't deny they're incredible players, but you're relying on two players who haven't been at their best to be at your best to then try and achieve what you want to. Whereas you've lost those goals from Salah, and you're talking about losing the goals from Gakpo as well, two reliable sources for players who just haven't been at their best.
Yeah. So a lot of question marks, and I want to hear from Liverpool fans. Are you worried going into this season? Have the hierarchy at Liverpool done enough to give Iraola what he needs? I mean, they haven't done anything to give Iraola what he needs because they haven't made a signing yet, have they? Not one signing. They brought Jake in, which was from the Arnie Slot era, who's come in at the end of the season. And Munoz has come in. That's the only one. That's the only one that's come in with 2 weeks left till the Premier League kicks off. They need so many players in. I think they need a minimum of 4 or 5 players, literally, which is crazy to think about. So, yeah, Iraola already seems he's under pressure.
Yeah, but what is successful for Iraola this season? Because Slot won the league and then finished 5th and then been sacked. So Iraola's now come in. What is he expected to do? Champions League at the very least. Is he expected to challenge for the title?
If you're a Liverpool manager, you're expected to challenge for the title. That's what you're expected to do.
Yeah. So if he's not in a title race, there's going to be a lot of angry Scousers.
There 100% will be. But I think the majority of Scousers will go into the season, if they do make no signings from now, which I think they will make signings. But if their squad is still looking weak, I think they'll realise, the blame needs to be headed elsewhere than Andoni Iraola. It needs to be headed towards the hierarchy because they're not giving him the best chance to succeed in the job.
I understand, but if he's not even if it comes to pass that he's not even doing as well as Slot, if he's doing worse than Slot, let's say.
Yeah, but he's got a worse squad than Slot.
Doesn't matter. He's been brought in to improve it.
Yeah, but he hasn't had the opportunity to improve it because it's a worse squad.
But they sacked Slot because he wasn't good enough, right?
Correct.
So if the new manager comes in, regardless of that situation, come halfway through the season, if he's doing worse, he'll be judged on that. And it might be, look, you could argue, and fairly, that's unfair, but that will happen. That just will happen. There's no doubt about it.
It shouldn't, though.
It might not, but it will.
It shouldn't happen because you've just got to look at the squads from last season and this season. I know they had a really... And Slot had a rough hand himself with all the injuries and everything like that he had last season. Slot was by no means... out of fault for what happened last season, but he got a rough hand in terms of the injuries and in terms of the recruitment last summer. They spent a lot of money, they brought in a lot of top quality players, but the way that they brought them in and the positions that they brought in and the balance they brought to the squad was completely all wrong. We looked at it last season together, the Liverpool summer and the Arsenal summer. You just thought the Arsenal summer was so much more precise, so much more clever, so much more balanced, and then the Liverpool thing was just a scatter, just bring in any top quality player that we can. That's pretty much what it was like. And now it's left for Andoni Iraola to pick up the pieces, basically.
Yeah, but the thing is with Iraola, even with Slot, he had the credit in the bank of winning the Premier League, and he still lost his job. Iraola doesn't have that. Yeah,
I know.
So he will be judged.
And he also doesn't have Mo Salah.
He doesn't. I know he doesn't have Mo Salah, but Salah wasn't even good last season anyway. But look, regardless, I'm saying the fans and the club will judge Iraola if he's underperforming even halfway through the season.
And another thing that's going to work against Andoni Iraola as well is that Van Dijk, another year older, it wouldn't be surprised me if he declines this season even more. So, yeah, big job on his hands, Andoni. So we'll have to wait and see how that happens and what kind of signings Liverpool do bring in. Do you think they get Barcola and buy Spence?
I don't know if they got all three. I think probably Barcola they get. I think that's going to be a difficult deal, but I reckon there's been a lot invested in it. And I don't know about Mbaye. I don't know about Spence either, but I think they get Barcola.
Well, if you're a Liverpool fan, let me know how worried you are going into the season. 2 weeks to go and so much business left to do. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time.